at some point, the warm temperatures, I promise you guys, will be back, and you'll be back to garage sailing and yard sailing. And in the spirit of us dreaming about those days when it's warm enough to have garage sales like I have in Florida pretty much year round, I decided to compile a list of some of the most ridiculous garage sale finds ever. Things people paid like $2 for and sold for like $200,000. We'd all like to flip that, right? So hopefully somebody is going to comment on my section in 3 months or 6 months with some awesome garage sale finds that they get this year. In the meantime, I'll give you some motivation to get back out there once they start up again, and hopefully you can find one of these ridiculously crazy, profitable garage flips out in your local city or town. So without further ado, let's jump onto it and check them out. Okay, here we go, 11 best garage sale finds ever, and I kind of pulled these out. Make sure you follow along. I'll put the link down below. And number 11 is a 50-cent painting worth $10,000 from WBAL TV, and this was at Christie's Auction House in New York. And WBAL TV is actually a Baltimore news station. I know that because that's where I'm from. But it says in May 2015, they made history by selling the single most expensive piece of art sold at auction. The price tag of this one-of-a-kind Picasso was just over $179 million. Picasso began painting the series A through O in 1954, and version O is now owned by an anonymous phone bidder. But this particular painting of these pool hall players worth $10,000. Number 10 was the Tiffany mirror, purchased for $2, valued at $25,000, and it says anonymous buyer purchased the 1905 Tiffany Peacock mirror from Hurley, Arizona. The mirror was brought on to the Antiques Roadshow to be appraised in 2010. It includes leaded and reflective glass, and it's stamped with the iconic Tiffany Studios, New York. He appraised the piece at $25,000, which is more than $12,500 what the original buyer paid for it. This one I've seen before, the Velvet Underground record that was purchased for 75 cents and sold for $25,000, dated April 25, 1966. It was bought in a New York City sidewalk sale in 2002. This was the only copy known of the recording session from April 1966 Velvet Underground, and it sold again with the ending bid of $25,000. I have seen this one as well, the 58 cents for the Vince Lombardi sweater. Vince Lombardi, the historical, greatest football coach to ever live, coach of the Green Bay Packers. This one sold for $43,020. This is actually his sweater from West Point, which, if you guys don't know, is the Army's military academy at West Point. It says Sean and Ricky McVoy purchased the West Point sweater from a thrift store for 58 cents. The couple would have never imagined the original owner was coaching legend Vince Lombardi. Lombardi's name was on the inside of the tag here, and they were able to authenticate it through the Heritage Auction House in Dallas. They confirmed it, and they actually confirmed it by examining the types of fabric as well as the stitching used, his name, everything, all that good stuff. So $43,020 from 50 cents or 58 cents. Pretty good. Egyptian cat bust, which is odd, but this kind of stuff always sells high. 80 grand. The rare figure was auctioned in London. It's believed to sell for around 20. However, a prominent London dealer purchased it for $80,000. This thing is super old. 1931 Frankenstein movie poster. Anybody who doesn't know, movie posters are really, really popular, really hard to get if they're originals from 30s, 40s, and 50s. This one sold for $358,500. Pretty crazy. It was discovered in the 1970s in the projection booth of a remodeled theater. Frankenstein memorabilia can be popular with many collectors, and when an item this old resurfaces, prices escalate quickly. They estimated 100 to 2, but it ended up selling for $358. Again, the Heritage Auction House in Dallas, Texas. Very big auction house, really well known. It had 12 active bidders and 8,900 page views when it ended up selling. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of the people that bought the original Declaration of Independence copies for $2.48. They sold at auction. Well, this one sold at auction for $477,650. So if you don't know, when the original Declaration of Independence was written and signed, Congress ordered William J. Stone to create 200 reproductions. And they are reproductions at the time, and this was in 1820, so it was some 50 years after you know, almost 50 years after the original document was signed. You're talking about what, 44 years later. So he created these 200, and it's believed that only 35 actually made it out. You heard of a guy at a garage sale bought one out of the back of a picture years ago. But Michael Sparks from Tennessee found what is to be known as the 36th reproduction. He's at a garage sale purchasing salt and pepper shakers along with the document, $2.48. He thought something was off about it, had it examined, and it turns out it was worth $477,000. Pretty crazy. Number 4 is an antique table. It says Claire Wigand Beckham, a New Jersey teacher, purchased a table in '98 for 25 bucks at a yard sale, and the 18th century card table ended up being made by Boston furniture maker John Seymour and Son. The table sat in her home for 30 years before it was appraised, and they appraised it at $200,000 to $300,000. Sotheby's actually auctioned it, and it went for $541,500. Crazy. This is a very famous story. I know this one. I've read this one. The Andy Warhol sketch that the guy paid $5 for, and valued at $2 million. Now, I haven't seen a lot on this recently, and this was some years ago. And yeah, the date is actually 2010. He bought it at a yard sale in 2010. He's from Vegas, and it was what he thought to be drawn by a child, which it turned out to be that Andy Warhol drew this or painted this. It's a sketch. It's not a painting. A sketch drawing at the age of 10, which would have put it, you know, way back in the day. So the picture depicts a 30 singer, Rudy Valley, and it's been appraised at $2 million. And I think the guy still owns it to this day. I think he never wanted to sell it. He wasn't hard up for money, so he's good to go. He only paid $5 for it. Number 2 is a ceramic bowl. It was purchased for $3 and sold at auction for $2.2 million. It came from a garage sale. 5.5-inch piece of china. And it originated from China's Northern Song Dynasty. In March of 2013, the family put the bowl up for auction at Sotheby's. And the winning bid was a British art dealer, Giuseppe Eskenazi, which I have no idea who that is, but paid $2.2 million. Really good. And the number 1, this one is a pretty famous story as well. It's a Tudor bed frame, original Tudor bed frame, wood bed frame. The owners bought it for 2,200 pounds, which somebody do the conversion on that. What is that, like, I don't know, 1,500 bucks, or I mean 3,500 bucks. It's more, what are they, like twice our number? Anyways, worth 20 million. So I think that was like $3,500, and it's worth like 35 million. Somebody can do the pounds conversion. I don't know what it is. Anyways, this intricately carved 4-post bed was dumped in a hotel parking lot of the former Redland House Hotel in Chester, England, when they were renovating it. He ended up buying it for 2,200 pounds in 2010, and he was a 4-post bed specialist. He approached a historian, Jonathan Foyle, with, you know, he had suspicions, this is what he deals in, that it was worth more than what, you know, anyone would have thought. And they did, and they were able, Foyle was able to confirm that the 4-post bed was the only surviving Tudor bed, and proven through DNA testing of the timber, revealed that the bed in fact belonged to King Henry VII in 1486. The bed was estimated to be worth over 20 million pounds, but it remains on display in the Long Gallery at Hever Castle in Kent. He picked it up on November 22nd, 2015. 2 years ago, he took it back. No idea if he sold it since. I'd have to check an update to see if he sold it in the last 2 years. But the only surviving Tudor bed. And what's interesting, if you look at it, it looks really short. Don't forget, back in those days, 1500s, people weren't as tall as they are today. So it is a short bed, really intricately carved. But how about that, paying $2,200 to sell it for $20 million? Pretty crazy investment. I'll take that flip all day long. So pretty cool list of things here that people have found. Make sure you get out to garage sales, and maybe you can find one of those scores too. But even if you just find something for a few bucks that you can sell for a couple hundred, that's a score as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it. Enjoy the video. Give it a thumbs up, and I will see you next time.